Let's pay homage to the lineage gurus, homage to the Venerable Maung Liao Ming, homage to Master Sakya Zeng Kong, homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa, and homage to Master Dukden Dorji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. And let's pay homage to the main deity of the group practice tonight, the Medicine Buddha, the Vaisaya Guru, Simu, Tanzen Gyatso, all the Dhamma masters, Dhamma educators, Dhamma teachers, Dhamma lecturers, Dhamma assistants, and directors of temples and chapters, all disciples present here and over the internet. And our participating VIPs today are the president of the Ta Hong Publisher of France, Dharma Sister Shu Ji, Dr. Ryan Zorn, from Hong Kong, Gasca International President, Dharma Sister Mei Si and Jia Wen. Today, we did the group practice of Medicine Buddha, the Vaisaya Guru Tathagata. So, he is a Tathagata of the Eastern realm. So this Tathagata or Buddha made 12 great vows to help many sentient beings. And he radiates blue light. Eastern realm, blue, and the dedication that's special is to bless that our Dharma practice will succeed and to eradicate all the illnesses and to be in union with Yidam, and then all sentient beings gain peace and happiness. So today, primarily, I would like to talk about Bodhichitta. Bodhichitta, which is the mind to strive for enlightenment for the benefit of sentient beings. So the vows that you make in your spiritual cultivation should be the same as the vows of your Yidam, so that you would be able to gain spiritual union easily. So if you practice Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva as your Yidam, you should have made the vow of compassion to deliver sentient beings. If your Yidam or personal main deity is Manjusri Bodhisattva, then the vows that you make should be based on wisdom, like Manjusri Bodhisattva, to solve the questions that sentient beings have. If your yidam is Vajrapani, then after you practice and attain Dharma power, you use your own Dharma power to deliver sentient beings. So this kind of vows is Bodhichitta. So based on the Bodhichitta, the Buddha once asked his disciples, "What do you use to offer to Sakyamuni Buddha?" The Buddha asked all the disciples, "What do you offer to Sakyamuni Buddha?" Someone said, "Flowers offering to the Sakyamuni Buddha," and some said, bed. Use bed, like the best kind of bed, to offer to Sakyamuni Buddha, or the best kind of Dharma throne. And someone said maybe the precious treasures, like the dragon girl attained Buddhahood because she found the biggest jewel at the bottom of the ocean, and she made offering of that huge jewel to Sakyamuni Buddha. But in the Buddha's opinion, in Sakyamuni Buddha's opinion, what is the best offering that you can make to Sakyamuni Buddha? Like for Taiwanese or most Orientals, they like to offer food because they love to eat. There are lots of delicious food, and people offer delicious foods to Sakyamuni Buddha. But Westerners rarely offer food. They would offer flowers or a flower. So there's some difference between the East and the West. So there was this joke. When they see the Orientals praying to their ancestors, they would place lots of food, and the Westerners laugh at them. How could the deceased or the dead come and eat the food? But the Orientals said, when you go to the cemetery, you would bring a bouquet of flowers. Will they come and appreciate the flowers? So there's some difference in the custom. But Sakyamuni Buddha once said, the greatest offering is the offering of Bodhichitta. And someone said, I offer using my heart. That is right too. If you have the heart of reference to Sakyamuni Buddha or to Buddhism, that's also a kind of offering. However, the heart or the mind is intangible. And someone said, I would offer the Dharma practice, like by practicing the Dharma, that's an offering. So either Dharma offering, mind offering, They are all very good, but the most important thing, the most important one of those is bodhicitta. And what is bodhicitta? It's the vows that you make. So, the vows that you make in your spiritual cultivation. So, whatever vows that your yidam made, you should know, and you should make the same vows. So let me ask, Benson Capsule, what is your yidam? Mahachundi Buddha Mother. So let me ask you, what vows does Mahachundi make? Compassion. Okay, well, compassion is for sure. That's fine. So, Master Lian Wang, what is your yidam? Amitabha Buddha. So, 48 vows. Amitabha Buddha made 48 vows. Okay, recite it for me. So that's a summary. It's not listing them. Because Medicine Buddha made 12 vows. What he said is considered correct. So to practice your yidam, you first need to know the vows, because the vows are the bodhicitta of that deity. So in order to gain spiritual union, you have to generate the same vows as your yidam. Then it will be easy for you to gain spiritual union. So why, after you have attainment, you'll be different? The fruitions are different. Although they all have attainments, they all have fruitions, like the fruition of arhatship. An arhat is considered to have a fruition. So the fruition of an arhat belongs to the small vehicle, to the Hinayana. So he practiced until he had attainment himself before he delivered other beings. That's arhatships. And by the 12 causes and conditions, and attain Buddhahood, that's called the Prateka Buddha. So they practice based on the 12 causes and conditions. And that's the Prateka Buddha, or the solitary hearer. And why? Because only you yourself have the attainment, and you don't deliver other beings. So these two fruitions are about the same, arhats and Prateka Buddha, because their bodhicitta is rather small. They just want to have attainments for themselves. But the bodhicitta for bodhisattva is huge, it's great, like Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva, that he would attain Buddhahood only after sentient beings. All of them have attained Buddhahood. So until health is empty, he will not attain Buddhahood. So his bodhicitta is extremely great. So the bodhicittas of the bodhisattvas are the greatest. Like of the 8 great bodhisattvas, Avalokitesvara, Manjushri, Samantabhadra, Siddhigarbha, Maitreya, Akasagarbha, Vishkambi, Vajrapani. Their vows are all extremely great, because the greater the vows they make, the higher their realms will be. So what is the fruition of Buddha? So what is Buddhahood? It's all the same, that they have made the greatest vows and generated the greatest bodhicitta. So they have manifested their own Buddha nature. So we can say that primarily, not only that they merge with their own intrinsic original Buddha nature, they also generate and make use of the greatest bodhicitta, that the sentient beings, the Buddha and the mind are exactly the same in order to attain Buddhahood. That's the greatest bodhicitta. So the Buddha had said that if you want to make an offering, you offer the vows that you make. That would be the best kind of offering, the most important offering. So today I'm talking about generating bodhicitta. Like what I said, the Pure Land of the 5 Dhyani Buddhas. At the center, the Aoming Pure Land, the amazing radiance Pure Land at the center. In the west, belonging to Amitabha, is the lotus Pure Land of utmost bliss, and in the east is the marvelous bliss or Miaosi Pure Land belonging to Akshobha Buddha. In the south of Ratnasambhava Buddha, the auspicious Pure Land. In the north, it's the marvelous action Pure Land of Amughasiddhi Buddha, Miaoxing Pure Land. So their Pure Lands are all different. So based on the vows that you made, you go to a certain place. So which Pure Land you go depends on the vows that you made. Miaoxing, the marvelous action, auspicious, the marvelous bliss, lotus, and the amazing radiance at the center belonging to Vairocana Buddha. That's the Pure Land for yogi, for tantric practitioners. So you need to know all these Pure Lands, and you need to know how to generate bodhicitta. So this is a very important teaching today. I have asked two people. Each bodhisattva made their vows, and each Buddha also had made vows. And in order for you to gain spiritual union with these deities, you have to make the same vows as they did in order to gain spiritual union easily. Amitabha Buddha has made 48 vows, and you need to remember them clearly. And Medicine Buddha has 12 vows, and you need to remember them very clearly. And when you practice Medicine Buddha, you have to recite all the 12 vows as well as your own bodhicitta. So that's called the bodhicitta offering. Today, let's continue to expound on Lamdre. So here it talks about contemplation. They don't say meditation. So it's like quiet thought. So to let your thoughts become quiet, and that is also meditation. So if you can stop your thoughts, that's meditation. These are the titles. In contemplation, divided into removing the poison, accepting the nectar, and cutting off. We've talked about this before. In removing the poison, there are the 8 faults, the 3 no faults. And in accepting the nectar, there are giving rise or not to the meditation, food, dignity, vital energy, light drops, and mudra. And second, nectar from arising to the discovery of one of the benefits. Third, nectar from one of the ability to eradicate thoughts. For cutting off of the contemplation, for the channel area, cutting off the channel of rebirth, cutting off the channel of nirvana, and then opening and closing of chi, and the mind experience of warmth at will for the body, speech, and mind. Those are just titles. So this is the instruction on the practice of 3 contemplation, divided into 3 areas: removing the poison, accepting the nectar, and cutting off. Now let me read on this removing the poison. We have talked about removing the poison before. The verse stated 3 faultless separating and reuniting, etc., to eliminate the poison of contemplation. So in order to enter into samadhi, the instruction on acknowledging the transition to the path, obtaining the benefit, is accepting the nectar of the contemplation, and eliminating the poison is to cut off the root of rebirth or reincarnation. To cut off the root of rebirth, and obtaining the benefit is accepting the nectar. eliminating the poison is to know, like you know that is a poison and you separate yourself from it, then you're uniting with the path. And this is the instruction on it. Firstly, although one arises to meditation by eliminating the poison of realization, if there appears the poison of contemplation, which are the 8 faults of spiritual experiences due to the hindrance of knowing, when the 3 faultlessness have been purged, the meditation of these spiritual experiences are divided into 15 types, roughly as the 8 faults and 3 faultlessness, for a total of 11. 8 faults in the various empowerments, 3 dispositional realization. The present dispositional realization has faults due to its attraction to wonders and marvels. The empty dispositional realization has faults due to decrease, whereas dual execution dispositional realization has no faults. So what is the present dispositional realization? And what is attraction to wonders and marvels? So this character, this Chinese book character, in our sutra, this character often appear, which is marvels and wonders, and one of them is also the senseless chatters. So if you talk useless words or useless things, that's a fault in spiritual cultivation. As we know of the 5 precepts, the 5 basic precepts about never to lie, not just lie, but also nonsense talks, that's also poison. 5 poisons: greed, anger or hatred, ignorance or delusion, doubt and arrogance. Greed, anger, ignorance, doubt and arrogance or pride. Those are the 5 poisons. And our 5 precepts, they're also poisons. Killing is a kind of poison. Stealing is also a kind of poison. Lying is a kind of poison. Adulteration is a kind of poison. And intoxicated or drinking alcohol is also a kind of poison. Of the 5 precepts, being intoxicated or drinking alcohol is the minor crime. The rest are major crime. So if the alcohol is for medicinal treatment, it's okay. Like what we ate for lunch is the drunken chicken, so they use alcohol, but you don't get drunk from eating it, so that's not considered a poison. But if you drink too much and get drunk, then of course that's a kind of poison. Some people drink alcohol, and then they can do anything to become fearless. So that's like getting the poison out. So in this so your thoughts should not be in this useless, nonsensical drama or game. That's not good for you. That would be an obstruction to your meditation. That's why we consider it poison. So if you talk those, say those nonsense things, that's really not good. So the gurus always taught us less chatting, more chanting. So the gurus often taught us, so less chatting, more chanting. There's a joke here. A perfect man will not smoke, will not drink, will not go for prostitute, will not use drug, will not be angry, will not scold people, and most importantly, will never exist. This kind of man will not exist. What kind of people is that? He had eliminated all those nonsense. So he's a sage, he's perfect. But in the joke it said that this kind of person will not exist. But in reality, all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are like that. So Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are basically like that. So it's written here, the present dispositional realization has faults due to its attraction to wonders and marvels, to all those, you keep thinking about all those chatters and senseless thoughts and true and false. How can you meditate? Impossible. So realization is something that you see, that you have come across. Those, all of them. So this is spiritual cultivation. Don't smoke, don't drink, don't go for prostitute, don't gamble, don't get angry, don't scold people. That's spiritual cultivation. So you correct your own behavior and thoughts. That's spiritual cultivation. So the poison here is to increase your own thoughts and actions. So I just use simple explanation here. And empty dispositional realization has faults due to decrease. So what is the empty dispositional realization? Is your understanding toward empty nature. You understand the concept of impermanence, but it can also become a fault. Why? Because once you understand too much, then you're bound by this empty nature. This is very difficult to explain. Of course, we need to recognize impermanence, that nothing is permanent in this world. Only the cosmic space, the sky, stays forever. So you need to practice until you're the same as the sky. And even the sky is just a term. But you understand the terms about emptiness too much, that becomes an attachment, a kind of attachment. Once you have this kind of attachment, that becomes a fault. That's all I can say to explain it. So that's called the emptiness dispositional realization. Has faults due to decrease. And the dual execution dispositional realization has no faults. So what is the dual execution dispositional realization? So which master understand this? The dual execution of emptiness and bliss. Nobody answered, but the master did not answer, but the Dharma teacher answered. Emptiness and bliss. In the development stage, it is bliss, and in the perfection stage, it is emptiness. So the dual execution of both development stage and perfection stage, and completely united, that's has no fault. If you're too attached to emptiness, that's a fault. But if you're too attached to existence, that's also a fault. But if you combine and balance them, then that's the middle way. So between emptiness and existence, that's the middle way. Between emptiness and bliss, that's the middle way. So that's the dual execution of emptiness and bliss, of development stage and perfection stage. Then this has no faults, because you don't go to either extreme. You're not attached to existence nor to emptiness. Only this way you will be able to enter into meditation. One is loose, the other one is tight. So you need to balance between the tightness and the looseness. So in our spiritual cultivation, and you want to enter into meditation, and you continually telling yourself, I want to enter into samadhi, I want to enter into samadhi, that would be impossible for you to enter into samadhi. And then, okay, I'm not attached to it. Then you completely relax, and then you fall asleep. So if you are completely loose, that's not good. If you're too gripping, that's also not good. Those are all false. So how's your life these days? Nobody knows. But when you gain weight, everybody will notice. Whenever you gain weight, everybody would know and say, oh, you've gained weight. You're not fat, you're not skinny, just right. In Cantonese, and meditation is the same. This phrase, ngam ngam ho, just right, just. So empty, dispositional realization too much? No. If you're grasping on emptiness, no. If you're grasping on existence, which is the senseless nonsense, that's also not good. Only the dual execution has no faults. So the most amazing part is that not too tight, not too loose, not too fat, not too skinny. If you're too skinny, oh, that's too skinny. Or if you're too fat, how come you're so bad, you're fat? How come you're so big? But if you're just right, that would be incredible. That would be the most perfect figure. Is Grandmaster fat or skinny? Just right. I find myself a bit heavy. The other day, Lucy's son, Jeffrey, came. And in the past, he was a personal trainer. So I asked him, I had the six packs when I was young. But now, as I am aging, the six became one. And other parts of my body don't gain weight, only that part. You look better if it's your face that's become chubbier. But the places that you want to have more flesh don't happen. But the place that you don't want to get heavy, it became heavy. So I asked Jeffrey, is there any machine or anything that I can train? And Jeffrey said, no need for any equipment. So how do I train? And then he told me, is to do sit-ups and to train the belly part. But it's so hard. You cannot train on a full tummy. It felt uncomfortable. I have to ask him, is there an equipment to train this part? If you go to the gym, please raise your hand. Is there an equipment to train this? Yeah, to train the abs, the abdomens. After assiduous training, the 6 packs became 3. There are 2 small ones on tops and 1 big one at the bottom. So now, is this clear? So the present dispositional realization has faults due to its attraction to senses, wonders, and marvels. That's development stage. And the empty dispositional realization has faults due to decrease. That's the perfection stage. But if you can dual execute both development and perfection stages, then it has no faults. One is happiness, one is bliss. If you can balance and harmonize them, then it has no faults. In the secret empowerments for self-arising realization, what is the secret empowerment? One is the vase empowerment, and then the secret empowerment, and then the wisdom empowerment, and then the perfection empowerment. These are the 4 empowerments. So the secret empowerment is the 2nd level empowerment. What is this self-arising realization? 2 kinds of afflictions occur due to anxiety or excitement. Deranged self-arising realization occurs to befuddlement. And the 3rd is not the remedy for the severance of afflictions, differentiation and ordinary afflictions, etc. It's difficult to discern the differences. Only the lucid, empty, self-arising realization has no faults. So what is this excitement or anxiety? As I just said earlier, when you're so energetic, so excitement is like energetic, and you have lots of thoughts running around. And because you're so alert, it's impossible for you to meditate. Or like you have strong desire, how can you enter into meditation? So that kind of affliction is you're very excited or anxious. Okay, let's talk about sleep. Like if you're very excited, like at night before bed, how can you fall asleep? So that's called the excitement. So before bed, you should have forgotten everything, all the afflictions and everything, completely empty them, and then you can fall asleep. You just throw away all of your afflictions, then you can fall asleep. And deranged self-arising realization occurs due to befuddlement. Like you have all those running thoughts, and then once you relax, then you fall asleep. You wanted to enter into meditation, but instead you fall asleep. So these 2 kinds are false. And the 3rd one, if you don't cut off your afflictions and you don't counter them, and ordinary afflictions, that's very difficult to discern the differences. Only the lucid, empty, self-arising realization has no faults. If in the second level empowerment you have generated your own inner light and you have comprehended the empty nature, the true empty nature, and the empty nature lucidity, the self-arising realization, then there has no faults. So if it's too tight, excitement or anxiety is too tight. If it's too tight, it's impossible for you to meditate. But if you are befuddled or fussy or completely relaxed, then that's too loose. Then you would have fallen asleep if it's too loose. Just now, seated on this Dharma throne, I have this habit, which is not right, but every time I'm seated here, I'm falling asleep. Is there a Mara here? Really, I'm always yawning and getting very drowsy. You know what I use? I bite on my own lips in order not to fall asleep. But really, I was drowsy. I was yawning continually. If you had not been here, I would have fallen asleep long ago. But I cannot, right? So I bite on my own lips so that I feel the pain in order to stop myself from falling asleep. This seat is very strange. It's so comfortable seated here. I just want to fall asleep. So if you're too loose, then you would fall asleep. But if it's too tight, you cannot enter into samadhi. So in the second level empowerment, you already generate your luminosity, your clear light radiance already generated, that you already comprehended the clear light radiance and emptiness. So with the lucidity and emptiness then together, then there is no fault. So with the dual execution, one is emptiness, which is too loose. The other one is bliss, which is too excited or too tight. So you also have to dual execute both emptiness and bliss. And the development stage is the bliss and the perfection stage is the emptiness. And you need to harmonize both. So too tight or too loose have to be harmonized or balanced. So if you're too excited or anxious, that's too tight. If you're drowsy, that's too loose. Then you need to harmonize them. Then once you generate your own light, inner light, then there is no fault. Then you can enter into samadhi. So what's written here is considered quite deep but can be understood. When when we are old, we have to be careful about our words and actions. Our dad is against having dog in the house, so we wanted to send the dog off to the village. But the family loves the dog. The dog is too cute, so they really don't want to send the dog off. So we keep the dog and we send off the dad to the village. So a lot of things we want to be introspective. So I often say that afflictions, worries, and anxiety is you create for yourself. So as a spiritual cultivator, there should never be hatred. Someone asked me, Grandmaster, in our spiritual cultivation, when we reach the realm of one taste, that everything is of one taste, how can you cultivate? Let me tell you, you should think of yourself to be the yidam, and then also regard everybody as the yidams. That's one taste, because everybody is yidam. I am the yidam, and everybody is also the yidam. Then only then it is called the samadhi of one taste. Only then it's called one taste. In order for you to enter into meditation, you visualize yourself to become the yidam. The yidam enters into you and you become the yidam. And you should also think that all the people around you are also yidams. Then you have no hatred, you have no enemies. If you still have hatred and enemies, then your spiritual cultivation will never reach the realm of one taste. As soon as you have hatred, then your afflictions will start, your worries and your troubles will start. Your own afflictions will give you misery. Therefore, as a spiritual cultivator, we should never have afflictions. We should never have enemies. We should never have hatred in our hearts. The other day, a Dharma sister Vinicius attended the Taiwan independence celebration with us, and I also went. October 1st is the PRC Independence Day, but October 10th is Taiwanese Independence Day. Had it been October 1st, I often ask, the Independence Day for mainland China, I would like to attend too. In Seattle, I heard Miss Tianle said that their celebration on October 1st is at Baden-Bauer Center, and I told her that you should notify me, I would like to attend too. So that's me. I don't differentiate between you and me, and Of course, Taiwanese Independence Day celebration I would attend because I was born in Taiwan. But the Chinese Independence Day celebration, because my grandfather immigrated from China to Taiwan from the Fujian province, Quanzhou city. So I'm the third generation Taiwanese. So I like to attend both Taiwanese and Chinese celebrations. And when I attended the Taiwanese celebration, my sister Winnie was there, and she told her friend, like elderly friend, we are good friends, but in terms of our faith, we are enemies. So maybe that friend is a Christian or something, and she's Buddhist. So when she said that, I corrected her. You should not treat your friend as an enemy just because of your faith. And that's not right, to regard her as enemy just because we have differing faith. Here we also enshrine Jesus Christ. Jesus was also my guru. He's also my guru. So for Grandmaster doesn't have any discrimination. Like China is the mainland or the homeland of my grandfather, and Taiwan is my birthplace. Taiwan is also my country. China is also my country. That's my view. That's my viewpoint. There's no differences for me. So I view you as an enemy and you treat me as an enemy. That's not spiritual cultivation. For a spiritual cultivator, there's no discrimination. There's no differences. Say if there's a Muslim that come to our temple and we say, oh, you're a Muslim, you're our enemy. No, that's wrong. I have read Al-Quran. Grandmaster has read the Quran, the Al-Quran, and it talk about the teachings from heavens, from God, through Muhammad. And it also mentioned Jesus and Moses. Jesus and Moses. And Jesus is my guru. So the Al-Quran of Muhammad has some Buddhist concepts too. And the teachings of Jesus, a lot of them are also the same as Buddhist teachings. That's why we are all the same. We should never treat anyone as enemies. If you want to attain that one taste, if you have attained one taste, the realm of one taste, then there is no faults. Because you have no enemies. But if you still have enemies or resentments, then you definitely will still have afflictions, and you will not have any attainments of the one taste realm, and you bring afflictions upon yourself. So it's not that your enemies give you misery, it's you give misery to yourself. You make yourself miserable by having enemies. Then at night you would be distracted by the enemies. Actually, the enemies don't do anything, but actually you do that to yourself. Xiaoming every day would give $10 to the blind man at the pedestrian bridge. And then one day there was a little kid there, but the blind man is gone. So Xiaoming asked, "Oh, when did your dad go blind?" And the kid said, "Every day from 10 to 9." From 10 in the morning to 9. That would be difficult to apply it to Buddhism. That's the worries of a blind man. So when the clear light is generated and comprehension of empty nature, that those have no faults. And as for the wisdom empowerment and fourth empowerments, innate realization and utmostly pure realization, there is faults for the initial bliss and separated bliss due to greed and desire, but there is no fault for the innate bliss. You know, in the wisdom empowerment, which is the third level empowerment, for the highest Yoga Tantra, and because you're experiencing pleasure, the light drops are dripping to the throat chakra that would generate the initial bliss, and from the throat chakra to the heart chakra, because the light drops is rubbing against the channels, it would generate the great bliss. That's the superior bliss. And then from the heart chakra to the navel chakra is even more supreme bliss, extremely great bliss. And then from the navel chakra to the secret chakra, there would be the innate bliss, which is the kind of bliss that you're inborn with. But if you are too attached to this bliss, then it would be considered faults. And because of this bliss, every time you do your practice, you generate the bliss. The man is experiencing the bliss, the woman is also experiencing the bliss, and because of this bliss you're attached to it, then it would be impossible for you to enter into meditation. The only way is when you enter into the empty nature, and at this time it's called the innate bliss, the original intrinsic bliss. Then this has no faults because it's innate. It had been there all along. So if you are grasping on the initial bliss, the superior bliss, the supreme bliss, extreme bliss, not many people can truly experience them. In True Buddha School, there was a Dharma brother, Gao Ming Lu, who experienced this kind of bliss. And he was experiencing for over 24 hours, for the whole day. Every time you do this practice and experience this bliss, of course it's only for a split of a second, or for a short time. Between a man and a woman, for the man it's like shah, shoo. For the woman it's slightly longer. For the woman it's slightly longer, and several times once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, or even 60 times or 100 times. For man, for the young man, at most twice, and for the older man, once, and that's it. But when you have attainment in your spiritual cultivation, you experience the bliss all the way from here to the secret chakra. That's very long. That's when the light drops is descending from the brow point all the way to the secret chakra, and that the bliss generated from it, and it's not short. So this is something that is experienced in the wisdom empowerment. And then one kind is the natural, innate, intrinsic bliss, the bliss of peace and lightness. Only that has no faults. The others are false because it would affect you from entering into samadhi. So as for the wisdom empowerment and the fourth empowerment's innate realization and utmostly pure realization, there is faults for the initial bliss and superior bliss due to greed and desire, but there is no fault for the innate bliss. And how come it becomes false? Because you are you have desire for that kind of bliss. Whether it's initial bliss, superior bliss, or extreme bliss, those are all false, because those bliss are generated due to desire. Only the innate bliss that you are inborn with has no faults. After being busy for several months, many uncles and aunties, workers are thinking about going on holidays, going on vacations. This is different from America. This is Taiwanese, a golden week travel. After being busy for months, many office workers are considering to travel. So the kid is explaining what travel means. Travel is you go from the place that you're really bored, and to go to the other place that other people are bored of, and spend the money that you earn with hardships and give it to other people, and then with empty pocket you go back to the place that you're sick and tired of and continue to live on. So You can consider if you want to travel or just to go to sleep. This has a lot of Buddhist feel to it. So, if you're seeking pleasure every day, it's better for you to meditate or to do a practice rather than seeking pleasure. It's better to sit down to meditate or do a Dharma practice. So this joke has some truth to Buddhism. So you're sick and tired working and you want to travel. So you go from a place that you're sick and tired of, go to another place that they're sick and tired of, and you spend all your money, and then you return to the place that you're sick and tired of. That's called traveling, vacation. So at this age, vacation? Good. I just climbed to the bed in this cold weather, covered in blanket. Then we just travel on bed. And we don't have to spend any money, and we can rejuvenate. Wouldn't that be great? So therefore, I recommend bed vacation. That's a lot of fun. Oh, that joke was good. Really, think about it. What he said makes sense. You're already so tired working. And then you go to a different place and get tired, and then you come back even more tired and your money already spent. Let's just go home sleeping instead. Oh, money ไปไม่ห้อง